Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the GTHub podcast. I am joined by a rather different set of co-hosts this week, well, we have one regular and one new, and we shall go to that regular, which is in a different place this weekend, as he's coming to us from a hedge, or a bush, rather, outside of a train station for some unknown reason.
Oh, yes, I am. Good evening, everyone, from the salubrious surroundings of a bush just outside of Basingstoke train station. Yes, it's a reference to Would I Lie to You?
And that was, of course, the voice of our resident Rob and semi-journalist there.
Hey, I'm an actual journalist.
Semi-journalist. And, of course, now we go to our, semi-regular, I should say. Well, he was regular in our first season for a couple episodes, but he's returned now for an episode, I think. And that would be Mikhail.
What's up? How you guys doing today?
And shut up.
Rob, I am disappointed at you, dude. I'm really, really disappointed.
And with Mikhail registering a disappointment, we move to the other disappointment of the weekend. Why say other disappointment? It was semi-disappointment. As Rob gets some friends going by there. The semi-disappointment, that was the Johnny Walker Belgian Grand Prix from Spa-Francorchamps over the weekend. And, what to say about that race, really?
There was a crash at the start, and then after that, not an awful lot.
Well, we need to explain. First of all, we need to explain qualifying real quick.
Yeah, it was a bit damp at the end in Q3.
I mean, what happened is that it ended up becoming, I think, Hamilton, Vettel, and I think what's now known as Racing Point. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, Racing Point.
Racing Point Force India. More on that later. Yes.
So that happened.
They were fighting amongst themselves for a position there at the front, and Lewis Hamilton was on top after Sebastian Vettel could not knock him off for the pole position. So Hamilton scored his 5th pole position at Spa in mixed conditions to earn his 78th career pole.
Which leads us to the race. And of course
on that front, I was going to mention that Sebastian Vettel was second, and the newly mentioned Racing Point Force India was a 3 and 4 front row, or second row rather, with Esteban Ocon qualifying 3rd and Sergio Perez being 4th.
Very good indeed.
That's actually really good for the guys. I'm really happy.
It would cap off a very successful weekend for them. As we now move into the race, which saw drama on the opening lap, and that was pretty much it, really.
Well, first of all, let's wonder how it happened. I think Hulkenberg may have lead brake, apparently. Went straight into the rear of Fernando Alonso. Alonso ends up launching over the salver of Charles Leclerc. I can't talk anymore already. God damn it! But
it is I, Leclerc.
It is I, Leclerc. Yeah.
Yeah, but apparently, for the first time in F1, in forever, the Halo finally gets its fuse. Because
not really. There have been other uses for the Halo, but
first in an F1 race. It had. I think it had been used on F2. I think, right?
Possibly. I think it might have been Makino-san.
Yeah, someone.
No idea who that is.
Someone Tadasuke Makino.
No idea who that is.
Someone almost got ran over by a tire, which luckily got protected. Which is basically, this is the first time we've seen an F1 car where the halo protected the driver. So I guess it's something. I guess.
Wait, hang on. You mean the safety device that was designed to save the drivers worked as the safety device? What a shocker! Yeah.
Yeah, but just a quick tangent. This actually caused a little bit of a controversy where people are now arguing about IndyCar and F1's safety. More than that on IndyCar in general, but
Not really. It's just Felipe Massa should learn how to shut his mouth when he doesn't need to open it. But yeah, not really a controversy, and that's where that will stay.
Basically, he just needs to be quiet.
Yeah. When it comes to things he knows nothing about. Absolutely.
I mean, it's gotten worse to a point where Mario Andretti told him to shut up.
Well, I mean,
well, that's because Mario Andretti is the bastion of common sense in sport.
Well, yes. With that, we'll leave that there because it's nothing and doesn't bear worth mentioning any further. But in the race, it was on the opening lap, like mentioned by Mikhail, there was Nico Hülkenberg who hit the rear of Fernando Alonso, which spun him into Charles Leclerc, and that then sent him over the top of Leclerc's car and into the halo. All three drivers were unharmed in the accident, and that was pretty much the dramatic point of the race there.
Actually, there's more people involved, which like in a separate incident. Bottas actually may have ran to someone, I guess.
Valtteri Bottas ran into the side of was it Kimi Räikkönen or something, or cut someone's tire down? I think.
That was Daniel Ricciardo. Daniel hit his rear wing on Kimi, which is why he got off flat. And meanwhile, Daniel has some kind of a rear wing issue where there's actually no wing.
Oh well, that was due to damage from or debris hitting it from I think it was Alonso's car, I think, or Hülkenberg's car, either one.
It's basically it just basically went to a full on like cluster crap coming into like the back of the field.
I suppose in a way, yes. It was a chain reaction there caused by Hülkenberg, who has accepted a 10-race grid penalty for this weekend at Monza, for triggering that crash. So he will start pretty much near the back, I think.
Meanwhile, in the front, I think in the front for the first lap, there's like 4 wide between, I think, the two Racing Point Force Indias and the Mercedes and the Ferrari apparently, and then that's it. Everything else just calmed down.
What settled in after pit stops, and that was how that race settled in. So Sebastian Vettel won over Lewis Hamilton, which cut the points gap down between himself and Hamilton to 17 points. Very lonely boy in third was Max Verstappen, who finished 20 seconds behind both of them. And Mercedes extends their lead in the constructor standings to 15 points over Scuderia Ferrari. Fourth was Valtteri Bottas, and the Mercedes coming back after his making 4 pit stops, thanks to his problems throughout the race. We had the 2 newly renamed Racing Point Force Indias in 5th and 6th, with Sergio Perez being 5th and Esteban Ocon 6th. And as a result of them finishing there, they have 18 points to the newly renamed, renamed and entered technically, which means they have more points than Williams in one race and only sit a single point behind Sauber in the constructors' standings. So, well done to those guys. It also points out the terrible season Williams are having with their horrible car.
So you're basically saying that Williams should pack up right now as it is.
It's going to be a long season for them, really. In 7th and 8th, we have the Haas's of Romain Grosjean and Kevin Magnussen. Which meant that the points gap between them and the battle for 4th in the constructor standings between Renault and themselves is just 6 points now. So that's a good points haul for them. Pierre Gasly was 9th for Scuderia Toro Rosso Honda, and 10th was Marcus Ericsson for Alfa Romeo Sauber, getting a point for them. It was a very attrition-heavy day, which saw Daniel Ricciardo, Kimi Räikkönen, Charles Leclerc, Fernando Alonso, and Nico Hülkenberg retire very early on into the race. So that was pretty much how that stayed. However, getting past the race, we now go to the bit of complicated news that we need to discuss here, which concerns Sahara Force India, which moved into what is now known as Racing Point Force India, which next year might even just be called Racing Point. So we shall see what happens there. But getting into the nitty-gritty of this whole saga, really. What started off the ball rolling here was the fact that Force India was owned by Vijay Mallya, who had no money at all, basically, and all of his assets, when that was due to all his assets being frozen by the, I think 13 or so banks, Indian banks, and also the nation of India, because they have charges pending against Vijay Mallya that's in the courts, and as a result, all his assets have been frozen, and he can't leave the country, so he can't spend any money on the team, so they were in dire financial straits for a couple of months now. And as a result, heading into the Hungarian Grand Prix weekend, Sergio Perez was forced to put the team into administration, save the team and all the employees there, to save the jobs there during the Hungarian Grand Prix weekend, which was Sahara Force India, and the end result was that the administrator that had been charged to the case, which was FRP Advisory, who also coincidentally handled, I think, the Manor administration, if I am correct in reading that. So they know how to handle things fine, I suppose. They were the ones in charge of the administration. They came to a deal with a consortium led by Lawrence Stroll, who happens to be the father of Lance Stroll. So more info on that later as we move on past the initial bits here. They came to a deal with Lawrence Stroll to transfer the assets to a new entrant, but that entrant needed to be accepted by the FIA. So that coming into Spa, we had the situation of the team possibly not racing, thanks to the confusion over whether they had purchased the entire entrant and the FIA license that was assigned to that entrant, or if they just had purchased the assets and the physical team, but not the intellectual property of that entrant. So that's where this was going heading into the weekend. And even up to qualifying on Saturday, there was questions over whether or not the team could race. So, as a result of the reshuffling, Force India was ejected from the championship under its guise as Sahara Force India, and was accepted back into the championship as Racing Point India, or Racing Point Force India, which is the same team, and for the rest of the season, it will be known as that. However, as a result of them foregoing Sahara Force India, they forfeited all points that were earned as that entrance, and also forfeited all monies earned by them. But thankfully, they got to keep their previous season's earnings after all the teams agreed that they should be able to keep their money. And it's still a very up in the air situation concerning them. But we have the situation of they are in this holding pattern at the moment because they are stable now with the money that they need to spend to continue as a going concern. But we don't really know who's going to be driving for them, really, other than possibly Sergio Perez, because he saved the team from administration. Or actually, rather, he saved the team by putting them in administration. But we don't know how that's going to shake out, because apparently even Sergio Perez isn't lined up for a drive, but who knows, really. The tenuous connection to either of them being that Lawrence Stroll has purchased the team, and as a result, Lance Stroll possibly might be occupying a seat at Racing Point Force India, possibly this weekend at Monza, maybe next time out. Who really knows? All we know is that the situation there is very fluid at the moment, so we'll have to wait and see at that point, because if he moves mid-season from Williams, that would mean Esteban Ocon's probably left without a drive, which means he might take up the Williams seat in a drive-for-drive trade, but there's a contract that says Robert Kubica has to be in the Williams seat if a driver leaves. So that might leave him without a drive. We really don't know what the situation is, so we'll just have to wait and see on that front.
I thought... Sorry.
Go on.
I was going to say, because I've heard rumours recently that Williams might be, if all the driver swaps you mentioned do happen, potentially put in the young Russian GP2 driver, Formula 2 driver, Artem Markelov in the car?
Well, that's a possibility as well, but I think Robert Kubica's contract says he has to be the replacement driver, so...
After the comments he made about the car earlier this season, I think he'd rather be driving anything other than that, Williams.
Well, that's true, but if you...
Sorry?
Go on.
I'd say, given that you said the two best parts of the car were the engine and the paint job.
Oh, that's true. I had forgotten about those comments.
Yeah. I think he'd much rather go do the, I don't know, Dubai 24 hours than drive the Williams. Oh no, so it's Mugello he did or something. I can't remember off the top of my head. Rounds a year or so ago. Yeah, he did Mugello, I think, because Martin Prokop, another former rally driver, was a good friend of Kubica's and asked him if he wanted to drive in his Mercedes. And then there was the all-Polish effort, I think it was at Dubai.
I know he was at Dubai. I don't know about Mugello, but yeah.
I might have to quickly check driver database when I get home from the pub.
Yeah, that might be new confirmation. Or someone in the chat could tell us if we're wrong.
Wait, you're in the pub? You are in the pub right now.
Well, yeah.
What are you?
That explains why it's so noisy. Okay. Anyway, it's fine as long as he's a stable signal. I don't care. But yeah, I don't know how his contract shakes out at the moment. However, so we'll have to wait and see if that's the case. And if that is the case, then maybe they don't have Kubica come in and they have Markelov come in, but then again, you're at the same situation that you are in currently, which is you have an inexperienced driver lineup having to come in and try and develop your car, which doesn't really make sense. Yeah, well, less experienced than the current Russian that they have occupying the second car.
I mean, the one thing Sorokin has in his favour is that I believe he does actually have an engineering degree.
Well, Sergei Sorokin has been the quickest Williams these past couple of weeks, really. But that doesn't say much if the car is stone dead last all the time.
But if you're in a car which is stone dead last, what's the one thing people are going to measure your abilities on as a driver? How often you can beat your teammate.
Well, this is true, yeah.
You know, we saw it with Manor when people were saying, "Oh, Pascal Wehrlein, he's tipped to go. So he might end up in a Mercedes one year," and yet turned out he was actually not really dominating his teammate Rio Haryanto. Likewise, when he drove for Sauber, Marcus Ericsson was just as good as he was in the car. So I think that's what the aim for both Williams drivers is at the moment, is just try to beat your teammate.
Well, I don't think Lance Stroll's really worried about beating Sergei Sorokin, because I don't think he has 2 feet there at the moment, so much as he's looking at the very nice, lovely, currently as they're liveried anyway, Pink Panther over there at Force India. So, yeah. He's got a option open with the team that his dad owns, so I don't think he's too worried about being upstaged by Sergei Sorokin at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But
we'll see, though.
We will have to wait and see here. I don't know. There's also the whole mess that started this situation was that Daniel Ricciardo took the Renault seat that was supposed to go to Esteban Ocon, but that didn't happen.
I think, did you see the comment, the little chat Ocon and Vettel had after qualifying?
No, I did not. What was that about?
Right, so after qualifying, they were interviewing the top 3 drivers, were there ready to be interviewed and asked how it went and that. Mm-hmm. And on camera, Vettel and Ocon were having a little conversation. I'm pretty sure it was not in English, but I have seen a transcript of the conversation. And in the conversation, Ocon basically... the gist of it was that Ocon told Vettel that he was in a position where he might not actually have a drive next year in F1, I think.
Well, that's kind of obvious, really. Just reading the tea leaves, where is he going to land, really?
Yeah.
I mean, the more dire concern is whether he's going to have a drive 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Short, because he's still a Mercedes driver, I think, Esteban Ocon.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Right.
I think it might have been Mercedes who put him there.
Yeah. And there's nowhere for him to go other than Williams. So, yeah, short of them moving mountains and making a like-for-like switch, I don't know where he lands. I'm not sure you'd want to go backwards to Williams either.
Well, if you wanted to go backwards to Williams, then you might as well go to DTM. Oh, wait, no, forget that.
Well, that's not an option either. So,
exactly.
Door number 3 would be possibly staying a Mercedes driver and racing GT3 cars? Yeah, possibly.
Well, Esteban Ocon alongside Ben Keating and Imster.
Well, could be an option. Who really knows at this point?
Well, exactly. No one knows.
So, yeah, this is all speculation and rumor at this point. So, yeah.
Because that is how most driver market news is. Literally.
Well, particularly in F1, yeah. Because
yes.
It's gone completely bonkers.
Especially this year.
The silliest of seasons is upon us, yeah.
You know what's also bonkers? Indycar. Gateway.
Yes, what a brilliant segue you've done there. Nicely done.
But was it done on a Segway?
Oh, shut up.
No. I'm prepared for you to randomly be on a Segway at this point.
well, given that they're illegal here in the UK still, I think.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, Forza, do your thing. IndyCar
to
Gateway.
do my thing. Yes, I'm the only one prepared at this point. We will start first with some news before we get into the bits and bobs of the race itself. Coming into the weekend, we had news of more scheduling being confirmed, and that Texas Motor Speedway will host the IndyCar series for 4 more years.
Oh, that's interesting.
Ah.
So we have some more Texas Oval racing, basically. We might. I think there's
continue being the second oldest oval on the schedule.
I think I heard that Gota's trying to get a date in for IndyCar. I heard.
Well, that was the other thing that was interestingly added in with the announcement of Texas, was that a potential spring race at COTA could be in the works as well. So we might have 2 trips to Texas in the season.
What's with the oh no?
COTA. I mean, we all remember what happened when IMSA raced at COTA, the site of all the Continental Tire Challenge cars actually seemingly racing a completely different circuit to the one they were meant to be racing on.
Oh, you haven't seen the Pirelli World Challenge race there, then, have you?
Oh, God, were they even further into the runoff area?
They were off at every corner that had runoff on it.
I mean, to be honest,
God,
don't worry. I think the IndyCar drivers would know what they're doing. Don't worry.
It's all about enforcing track limits, which IndyCar are quite good at, actually. We know about them enforcing the pit lane entry at Long Beach, so yeah.
Well, I mean, you were there, in fairness.
I wasn't there, he was.
I was. I saw the whole thing.
Wow.
So, you should go to Long Beach. We need to drag you in there ASAP.
Yeah.
Fuck.
As Rob falls over.
Trying not to get run over there.
What are you... Oh, yeah, by the way, he just also drank...
He's walking, so yes. Other news...
Fine.
Other news that came out over the weekend was that on Saturday, while they were running in Gateway, the race-winning chassis of the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500 was on sale in an auction in Monterey.
And guess what? How much it sold? Guess how much it sold?
Well, I know the particular number, but do either one of you two know the numbers?
Can I guess?
Yeah,
no, go on. Guess. Oh, you guess.
I'm going to guess about $41 million less than what the 250 GTO Scaglietti sold for. So about $1 million.
Wow, yeah, these complicated math.
Okay, well, you might be right. What is your guess?
For me,
this is Dale of the Century.
But basically, this is more simple. 1.1 million, right?
I was going to say, do we win a 3-piece lounge suite for whoever gets the most points?
Oh, sure, why not?
But yeah, 1.1 million, is it right?
Well, you said 1.1, and Rob, you said...
1 million.
Michaela's correct. She's closest.
Suck it.
Damn.
The Dallara DW12 chassis number 037 was sold for $1,127,500 on Saturday at the Mecum Auctions in Monterey.
So a bit less than the Ferrari I mentioned.
But what they're going to do with the IndyCar then? They're just going to keep it in some garage or something?
The car will be on display at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum through December 31st, 2018. And the buyer can activate a separate engine lease agreement with Honda Performance Development starting after September 2020. So they can actually have an engine in the car. So they can race it if they so desire.
These damn rich people.
So that's an interesting, and it's interesting about that is the fact that they have the option to actually use the same engine, more or less, that was in the car when it won the Indy 500. So typically in modern cars, they don't sell them off with the actual engines due to intellectual property rights and such. So, yeah, pretty interesting.
You know those interesting. Oh, sorry, you go first.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say, good old property rights.
Yep.
Possibly go wrong there.
I mean, those engines blow like a lot in those years, or actually that year in particular, because I think a couple of Honda engines blew up at Indianapolis.
The Honda's blowing up in 2016. No, they didn't.
I was thinking the year after that.
Well, I think Hunter Ray and Alonso blew engines.
That was the other year, though. I forgot. This is the year before that.
But right.
I'm still gonna be a little bit cautious though, regarding those engines could easily blow up anyways.
Well, you have an engine lease from Honda Performance Development. They'll give you nice, safe engines.
Safe. Okay.
Okay, are these going to have the better functioning set of valve springs that cost them a lot of points in the Manufacturers' Championship a few years back?
I actually don't know the spec of engine that they would give them, but I assume it would be the 2016 spec engine, or there or thereabouts, to be historically accurate.
Yeah.
So better be not the ones that in 2017 where most of like Honda engines blow up, not just in IndyCar, but not in Indy, but also in Long Beach.
That was IndyCar.
Yeah, no, I say IndyCar, but like some races they always seem to blow up basically. So I'm not really sure about the Honda engines those times. Maybe not this year because it's fine.
Well, Honda's clinched the Manufacturers' Championship now that you mentioned that.
Hooray!
So they got
for
better.
The first time since the engine formula. Yes, and Chevrolet has actually blown up more engines than Honda has.
Well, that's a surprise.
Means it finally got the engine formula correct 7 years into the engine formula. Yeah.
Anyways, let's look at what happened at Gateway.
The Bomarito Automotive Group 500.
Yes. Before that, though, I will give an update on the driver everyone's thinking about at the moment. That would be Robert Wickens. And there were two statements that came out, one from IndyCar on Friday, and one from Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports before the race itself. The one from IndyCar stated that he had undergone surgeries on his right arm and lower extremities without complication, and a series of precautionary tests found no indication of further injury. So that's the good news on that front. The extent of the spinal cord injury that he suffered remains indeterminate, though, however. So further treatment will include corrective surgery and rehabilitation. That was the boilerplate statement from IndyCar. And the statement from Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports has indicated the statement from Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports was that for the first time following his August 19th incident at Pocono Raceway, Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports driver Robert Wickens is breathing without medical assistance and speaking with his family. SPM said in the statement Saturday evening, Robert's family and the entire SPM organization are very pleased to share this information and wish everyone a safe event tonight. So, the good news is he is now breathing on his own, so he's now, I would say, on the road to recovery?
Yeah. There was also another piece of news that broke a couple of hours before we went on air tonight about who's going to be replacing Wickens for the rest of the season.
Oh, has there been confirmation of that?
Yes, there has been confirmation tonight, UK time, that Carlos Munoz.
Oh, interesting.
Ooh.
Well, that's a very good get for them then.
Yes.
What was the last time Munoz raced?
The Indy 500.
Indy.
Yeah.
Indy 500, yeah. And Harding have confirmed that Gabby Chavez will be in the car this weekend at Portland.
Not a surprise there.
That leads me to a question: how long Robert Wilkins going to be recovering until he gets back to the car?
Well, that is the question everyone wants answered, but considering we don't actually know the extent of the spinal cord injuries, There's not really an answer. It's a spinal cord problem, so we don't really know. Can we speculate on how long it'll take him?
In before he comes to Long Beach and then wins the race, just like James Hinchcliffe did when he would first win after his accident.
It's not looking likely he'll probably be in for next season, but yeah. It's a long road to recovery from a spinal cord injury.
We'll see. But anyways, Gateway? Question mark?
Yes, we'll get to Gateway now. Well, technically we already were at Gateway, but moving on. We had the Honda show at Gateway, pretty much. Was the raining pretty much for qualifying and practice, which shortened track time. And this benefited Scott Dixon because he started on pole thanks to entrant points, as a result of qualifying being washed out. So as a result, we had Scott Dixon leading for 145 laps on Saturday night, with Will Power and Alexander Rossi the only two to challenge him throughout the night.
I think there's a few cautions, I think, on this race.
Just the two.
Oh, yeah, there's two, actually. I think first one is I think
Bourdais.
Sebastian Bourdais had a spin, I think, at second turn.
The first one was on the opening lap, which involved the very OSHA-approved, safety-taped Sealmaster Honda of Sebastian Bourdais.
I was going to say, that car was definitely not OSHA-approved after the incident.
No, especially not when the suspension was pointing at a jaunty angle. Yeah.
Yes, pointing at a jaunty angle, and I think a couple of bits of it weren't actually attached to the car anymore, but we'll gloss over that.
I think
we'll just put some tape on it.
I think it also almost happened to Rossi, actually, but he managed to make one of the greatest saves in I think in Indycar season.
I think the commentators said that was the save that could have saved him the championship, and
they would be correct with that assumption. Yeah. I think, yeah.
Bang on the point.
Which, by the way, I think someone mentioned this on I think in GTHub that Rossi's been saving fuel. Like, he's been saving fuel god, apparently.
Well, on that whole point, that we had basically it was Scott Dixon's show to lose. Basically, as I mentioned, he led 145 laps on Saturday night.
But then there was a critical caution though, with Ryan Hunter-Reay with his I think it's injury issue.
Well, with that, you keep jumping ahead.
God damn it! Sorry.
Alexander Rossi was saving fuel, as was Scott Dixon, who is renowned for having speed and saving fuel. And it helps if he's at the front; he can dictate the pace. But he got out front and stayed out front pretty much, and Will Power was doing his best to chase him down. And he himself had to chase him down and kind of save fuel, but kind of go all out, and he just decided to err on the side of caution and or not on the side of caution, just go for the flat out approach, and that's what Will Power decided to do.
Actually, if I mentioned, Will Power actually tried to make a pass on Dixon and almost tricked himself because he was in the marbles.
Yeah, he went up high.
Trying to pass him. Yeah, he went up high around the outside of Dixon early on, and tried to make it stick, but got in the marbles and almost threw his race away.
Basically, a lot of the leaders are appearing to be very risky the whole race, like making risky moves. It's
down to 3 races to go in the championship. If you want to make a run for it, you have to get around Scott Dixon.
True.
You're not gonna wrestle that championship away from him if you're sitting behind him constantly.
I know, but maybe one of those risks could end up losing the championship anyways.
Particularly Will Power, because he's way behind in the points.
I know,
so he has to race Hail Mary all season long now, basically.
Yeah. So we might see him maybe do more risk in future races, but we'll get to that.
Yes.
We'll get to that.
Yes, we'll get to that. it was a battle between the three cars, as I mentioned, but Alexander Rossi was saving fuel like a god, as Pigeon would like me to point out to you.
And actually,
because basically it was very amazing fuel savings that got him that number.
I think it's basically the almost the repeat of Indy 500 when he won, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, it wasn't that dire, but it was still remarkable fuel savings.
Yeah, I think he just knows how to fuel save in general.
Well, I mean, he's very Scott Dixon-like in his attitude towards the championship now. It's very interesting. But it was a battle of fuel saving between Alexander Rossi and Scott Dixon. However, with those two trying to save fuel and the caution coming out, the second final caution coming out for Ryan Hunter-Reay on lap 173, thanks to him having some sort of engine issue that I don't think they ever, I think they did solve eventually, but one of those electronic gremlins, I guess. It was a splash of fuel from Will Power with 17 laps to go that got him out past Alexander Rossi and Scott Dixon, and him in front, basically, which allowed him to cruise to the win. And that got Will Power his third win of the season, and that equals the win total for Alexander Rossi. And who else has 3 wins? Someone else. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I was going to say, because I think Power equaled another record in terms of all-time series wins as well.
I think it's Bobby Unser, I think.
I think it was either Bobby Unser or Bobby Rahal. Can't remember.
Yeah, one of the Bobbies, but I might need to check right now.
It was indeed Bobby Unser.
Okay, so I'm correct.
He tied Bobby Unser's wins. Yes, he tied Bobby Unser with 35 career wins for 7th on the all-time win list. So he's getting up there, really, in terms of wins. And Bobby Unser thinks he can probably get more as well, which isn't, the worst thing. If someone of that high caliber thinks that highly of you, then, you're doing something right.
Oh, which, by the way, Rossi, despite not being passed by Will, he managed to keep second and basically cut a little bit of, points to Dixon. A little bit.
Well, that is the thing with the point lead. We had Will Power, as I mentioned, scoring the win with his 35th win of his career. Alexander Rossi was second, battling back from his mistake of almost throwing it into the wall midway through the race, or near the end, rather. And that saves his championship desires for the season. Third was Scott Dixon, which kept the championship gap manageable. Fourth was Simone Pagenaud with another top 5 finish to close out the season. Zach Beach was 5th with another stellar run, the best rookie of the race. Spencer Pigot got another well-deserved top 10 in the number 21 for Ed Carpenter Racing. Joseph Newgarden fell back early on and finished 7th. Ed Jones got a top 10. That was well-deserved in 8th. Takuma Sato was 9th, and Graham Hall rounded out the top 10.
And there was a lot of lap cars, apparently. I think there's only 8 people that made it in the the same lap as the leader.
Well,
starting from Takuma Sato, everyone else is a lap down.
Well, it's an oval race, so to be expected, really.
Yeah.
But we have, like I mentioned, or Mikhail mentioned, Scott Dixon leads the point standing still, but coming into the race, it was 29 points over Alexander Rossi. But with Alexander Rossi finishing second, he only knocks that point lead down to 26 points. So he's carved a little bit out of it, but not much of a difference. Will Power's win moves him up to third, and he now sits 68 points behind Scott Dixon with the double point finale coming up at Sonoma. Joseph Newgarden jumps down to, or falls to 4th in the standings, now 78 points behind. And Ryan Hunter-Reay is 5th, 147 points behind. So from 5th on back, there's no chance of a title. And even as far back as 4th, Joseph Newgarden is, well, he's really gonna struggle to hold on to his championship at this point. Short of a miracle helping him out this weekend at Portland, I don't see him hanging on to the number 1 for next season.
I mean, I heard that the next 2 races gonna have like more cars, I think.
Well, there will be one extra entry for, who is it? Santino Ferrucci, I think, in Dale
Oh, no.
If he ruins someone's championship hopes, I'm going to be mad. I swear to God.
Everyone's going to be mad and want him to be permanently banned from stepping in any race car ever again.
Well, IndyCar says there won't be any more sanction on him. So he's good to go as far as they're concerned, because they don't make the rules over his actions in another series. So he's fine as far as they're concerned.
Which is bollocks.
But he will be at Portland and Sonoma in an extra car there. But other than that, no, there won't be any extra entries entered for Portland as far as I know.
It will be interesting though. I think because not only that, but there's also it's a new track for most of these guys. I think some of these guys, because I think the last time Portland even raced, there was like in the 1990s.
The last Portland race was in 2000.
Oh, 2000. Okay.
7 with Champ Cars. So yeah, it's been about 10 years.
And some of these guys might even not race there because they're mostly IndyCar drivers.
Well, some of them have raced there. Sebastian Bourdais, Graham Rahal, Will Power,
Dixon?
Scott Dixon.
No, not Dixon.
No,
might have.
Not sure. Questionable.
Because remember, some of these guys are from like Champ Cars. Some of them are not.
Pagenaud?
Well, he might have back in the day, but not recently.
I think Pagenaud has, because he started in
Pagenaud was in Champ Car, yes.
Yeah.
So a couple of guys have raced there at Portland, but do keep in mind the track was changed significantly since they've been there. With a couple of turns and resurfacing and whatnot. So it's not quite the same track since they last went there.
So it'll be interesting to see how these guys could do on this basically new track.
It's somewhat of a new track for some, but it should be interesting to see how many cars race there. It should be a decent enough race, because there's passing on the front straight thanks to the chicane that was added there a couple of years back. So we will see what happens, but
it'll be
regardless.
It'll be an interesting championship race in 2 of these races, hopefully.
Well, it'll come down to the wire with.
Double points is what I forgot. It's
double points at Sonoma, yes.
Oh boy!
But I wouldn't worry. I still think Scott Dixon is in a position that he wants to be in, and that's just at the top, preserving the lead there.
Let's make it quick. Since there's 2 races to go, who do you guys think would win the championship?
I still think it's going to be hard to beat Scott Dixon.
James Dixon, I'm going for Rossi.
Realistically, it's a 2-man fight for the title. Will Power needs many things to go right to take the title from either of those two. And Joseph Newgarden needs even more miracles to happen.
What about you, Rob? Who do you think is going to win the championship?
Dixon.
So 2 Dixon and 1 Rossi. Okay.
I'm sure Pigeon would say Rossi as well. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll see what happens, though. Anyways, what other racing series have raced this weekend?
An honorable mention, of course, to the DTM race that happened over the weekend at Misano under the lights, which looked incredible, but sadly it was a DTM event, so
it's a little sketchy because there have been a couple of incidents I noticed on the race. A couple, because I think there were like a few first lap shenanigans, probably because of how slippery it is.
Oh, well, on the first race, yeah, but second race it was boring because it's DTM. So yeah. But honorable mention, of course. The only reason why I mentioned DTM, I wouldn't mention it otherwise, was the fact that Alex Zanardi was making a wild card appearance on behalf of BMW, and it was a stellar drive from him all weekend long, getting accustomed to a car he doesn't race normally anywhere rather. In the first race in mixed conditions, he did well to keep it on the track and bring it home 13th. And on the second race, he came home a well-deserved 5th place
in his
wild card entry. So it's a very good result for him.
That's actually really, really good. He still has it, even though he's like, what age is he? How old is he right now? He's probably in the 50s, I think.
He's a healthy 50-something-year-old, yeah.
And
his 5th place finish, as he says, feels like a gold medal, and I think that's very true.
I mean, he actually quoted like when he crossed the line that as like a happy joke or something.
Yeah, he thought they were joking when he said he was 5th. He's 51. Okay, thank you, Steph.
Yeah.
But basically, great. It's actually a pretty great weekend for him. So I'm really happy that he's doing pretty well. Like even at a series where he's not used to, and with a different way of he's doing things because reasons that everyone knows.
I think he had 2 days testing at Vallelunga, just outside Rome, and I think that was all think he had before the weekend.
Yeah, pretty much, but he really didn't need much testing because I think he knows Misano from his GT3 days.
I think he would know it from that, yeah.
Yeah, when he was running in Blancpain Sprint Cup, Z4 of all things. So I think he knows the track from then, so it wasn't really track familiarity so much as getting used to the new hand controls and his new way of driving, because they've changed the way that he drives and the fact that he uses his traditional ring throttle. What I mean by that is he has a steering wheel with the throttle ring on it that he uses his hands for. And they had a new a brake lever that was he used with the pressure trigger on it to use to mimic having legs, because he's not using his prosthetic limbs in the car any longer. So that way he has a better feel for the driving.
I mean, despite having no legs, he's still good.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it was... What was actually a bigger surprise to me was that the racing this weekend at Misano was actually alright.
Which race would that be in, though?
Both of the DTM races.
Right, okay. I only saw the first one. I thought it was rather crashy, but, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I only saw the second, but the racing seemed to be alright in the first one as well.
Yeah, not with the crashing.
It was rather crashy, so that's all I saw. Oh, did he really test for 300 laps? Okay, well, there you go. Yeah.
So he knows what he's doing.
Apparently that's so many laps he got under his test. So, yeah, well-deserved run for him and well-deserved finish on his behalf. Of course, this is all amping him up for his run next season in the 2019 Rolex 24 at Daytona in a BMW GTE. So we shall see how that works out. But yeah, going on past DTM now, we go to well, I hesitate to say the big event of the weekend because it certainly wasn't that way.
Before we
MotoGP didn't happen, so
That's all.
Before we start this, this main topic, where are you at right now, Rob?
I'm currently in the local branch of McDonald's.
Oh, no wonder. But anyways,
and I haven't actually seen any of this race really.
You should be so fortunate. Yeah,
I'm incredibly thankful.
This race that we're going to be talking about today is actually in our I guess in our thumbnail, right? It's already known by this point. The Suzuka 10 hours. Yeah.
Yes. Where do I start? Really?
Let's start with the first of all, it was pretty damn hype for one thing before the whole race weekend. We got different how can I say it? We got different series from different manufacturers, different drivers in GT3, which by the way is replacing what it was in I believe Super GT.
The 1,000 kilometers, the traditional 173 laps from memory.
I think so.
Well, they broke past that because it's a 10-hour race and not 1,000 kilometers. Yeah.
No, but I mean, it replaced the Super GT round.
Yeah.
So
they did. I think it was 200 and something laps in the end. Because 10 hours
276.
Wow. I was gonna say because 10 hours at Suzuka is actually quite a nice distance for an endurance race, and I think the grid was actually a good size as well, considering it was the first time it had been run to the 10-hour format. So I think those are the positives which can be taken forward for next year, definitely.
Very few positives, should I say.
I mean, to start with this whole crazy weekend, I think we have like a typhoon that kind of hit Japan. So
not really of importance. It only hit the paid practice sessions on Thursday, so it was no consequence.
But I want to start out with the practice, And
maybe the typhoon was a scene of things to come, really.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Then we go to qualifying, and I think we have like a long delay regarding the Super Bowl, if I'm correct.
It was an hour-long delay over track limit notifications that never went out to teams. So
I think it added more people than dropping people, actually.
The shootout was supposed to have 20 cars, but it ended up expanding to 24 cars because the cars that had their times deleted weren't notified of the times being deleted. So they had no idea they weren't in. So as a result of all the investigations, an hour after qualifying was supposed to end, it finally got started with the shootout. So
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it took that long.
It wasn't communicated to anyone, the teams, from what I had read, which is why it went from 20 cars to 24 cars, because the 4 cars that were added weren't notified that their times had been deleted. So
because why not, right?
Japanese officials not getting their messages through, apparently.
But right before qualifying officially ended, we have a spin from I think one of the Hondas that kind of stopped some of the teams that are trying to make a run for the pole.
Well, that actually ended qualifying because they brought out a red flag with 34 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, so, and I think some certain teams are affected by this.
Well, that's what they get for coming out later. Well, than they should have.
We'll talk about those teams later, though. But the ones that did manage to get the times were actually a Pro-Am team, actually. Hub Auto Corsa got the pole.
The 20...
David Burrell car.
Yeah, the 28 Hub Auto Corsa Ferrari 488 GT3 of Nick Foster claimed pole.
Followed by the number 888 Group M. Group M, if I'm correct.
Which was Ferrari's first pole in the summer endurance race, and it was also the first pole for a Taiwanese team and an Australian driver.
Basically, first for everything. Guess why not?
Pretty much. Well, yeah.
And I forgot, I did mention it already, but 888 in second place.
Of course, they got a nice little bonus for winning pole, which was around $8,900.
Also a wheel, if I'm correct, a BBS wheel trophy?
I'm not sure it was a wheel so much, it was half a wheel. Yeah.
It's still a wheel.
Yeah, it was half a wheel.
But
how can it be a wheel if it's not round?
Oh, shut up.
It was basically a rim that was stuck on like a board.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it was followed by Mercedes, Ferrari, Mercedes, Nissan, Porsche, Bentley, 2 Audis, and I think 1 more Nissan. Just round up the top 10.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Which leads us to the race, and
I saw the opening lap.
Yeah, first of all, the opening lap got interesting because I think that the pole car that you're talking about actually didn't go. How could I say it? It actually got stopped by the what's called the mechanic, I think. Mechanic was talking to the driver, and it didn't gone for like how many seconds? Like 10 seconds.
It had a starter issue, so it didn't roll off the grid.
So that's why they had the mechanic there.
Yeah, it was fixing something because it wasn't starting. So as a result, it started late, and the car was trying to take its position at the front of the field incorrectly. And as a result, it earned a penalty later on, which kind of took it out of contention after that point, because it was leading until then.
I thought they were like chatting or something. Apparently, they have an issue. I didn't know.
No, it was a starting issue for the Ferrari there.
So it wasn't the mechanic's fault. They were really trying to do something.
They were working on the car, and it wasn't starting, so that's what gave them a penalty later on in the race and took out the best chance for Ferrari at that race, because it had the pace and it was leading up until that point. But after the penalty, it was mired down in the field.
I mean, followed by a few other shenanigans. It's really like so far a clean race throughout the whole time, I believe.
Well, I mean, clean is arguable, but
I mean, mostly clean. Maybe there have been a few offs at 130R for some reason.
It's 130R. That's to be understandable, really.
I mean, how many people went off that track? Like 10, 15 teams?
I don't know. I wasn't counting. But a couple people went off because it's 130R. So
I think one team almost went off. It was the Bentley Porsche, trying to avoid a motor chassis, a slow motor chassis, in fact. Almost went to the wall.
That's just being redundant. You mean avoiding a slow car? Yeah.
Yeah, but I say motor chassis because that's what they do have, motor chassis.
Well, they're both slow, so yeah.
Yeah,
that's why I say that's just redundant because they're slow.
Yes, because they really want a GT3 car to win, probably.
Well, yeah. I mean, there was more GT3 cars than Japanese one-off entries. Yeah, for obvious reasons.
They're not. I mean, they're not the only ones that had issues, though. We have like Straka, the number 42, have issues. Like at probably like an hour into the race. Something like
that.
It spun out on the gravel and then it just doesn't work, I guess. And then somewhere like teams had issues. D Station got stopped on the I believe after going underneath the bridge. I think when they're trying to make the turn on the hairpin, it got slowed down. So they have an issue, the number 7. And more shenanigans happened because guess what? Bentley apparently caused another big wreck.
The D Station Racing number 7 had an engine failure that put it out. So yeah.
Oh, okay. But you know what happened to the only one reason we have caution
Well, the only full course yellow of the race happened thanks to the crash, or the heavy crash rather, of the number 58 Garage 59 McLaren 60S GT3. Yeah, I know it's annoying that the Garage 59 is the 58, but there you go.
And they crashed because I think Bentley pushed the McLaren off, right?
No.
Is it not? I don't know. It just
the 58 McLaren of Comme Ledegar made contact with Jules Gounon Bentley, and crashed into the barriers heading into 130R, I believe. I think it was near 130. I don't actually remember where it crashed.
I think from the photo I saw, it might have been the other side of the tunnel, like underneath it.
Somewhere like that, yeah. It was more or less around that area. I
didn't even watch the race.
I don't know what you just did, but what number was the...
Mind you, this was 3 hours into the race, so excuse me for not remembering. Yeah.
True. I mean, we've been, like, talking for, like... How long? The whole time?
More like dying for like 10 hours, but yeah.
Yeah, I got a good 9 hours sleep tonight. Very nice.
I'm just slightly annoyed that you got that much sleep. I should have gotten that much sleep, but no, I didn't.
But guys, the race start was like 2 a.m. here in England, so...
I mean, he does have a point. So, but stop. By the way, Rob, stop bragging. Shut up. Anyways.
I think he's the fortunate one. Yeah, I should have done what he did.
Stop bitching,
the 58 crashed, and the accident was blamed on Ledegar, who would be deemed responsible 2 hours after the crash, but the drive-thru would not be served because the car was retired on the spot. So, yeah.
I mean,
just to add insult to injury, he was penalized. So there you go.
I think there's more Bentley shenanigans because I think one of the Bentleys took out another Ferrari. I think.
Oh, so Bentley.
What do you mean another Ferrari? There's only 3 Ferraris in the race.
Well, there's one Ferrari that got penalized at the start. Well, an hour.
Well, that was the same one.
No, it was different. There was the red Ferrari. There was another Hub Auto, the pro class car. You didn't know?
Something. That was the red one. Yeah, the 28 was the yellow one. Never mind. Yeah.
Are you officially colorblind, dude?
I don't remember which Ferrari it was. All I know is the 27.
It was red.
Yeah, the 27 was the leading one. So yeah.
It was red, dude.
Yeah, the 27. As I said, the 27 was the red one, the 28 was the yellow one. Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah, but I think what happens is that the Bentley went off, I guess, in 130R like always, and didn't notice that the Ferrari was there, and it just hit it right there, destroyed the suspension.
Ran into the side of the 27 Ferrari and destroyed the right front suspension on the 27, and that ended Ferrari's chance at the win. And also earned the 07 Bentley a drive-through penalty, which then also had knock-on effects because it had a right rear puncture as a result of the contact.
Oh, how cute.
Basically, it was just like crashing for the next few laps when it happened.
It had a right rear puncture, which put it out of contention. It then spun at the Degner curve later on.
I think it wasn't the only Bentley that had issues. The number 08 had like an off somewhere because it got like some kind of dirt in front, and they had to clean it up.
08.
It did slow down on the hairpin when we were looking at the Goods model team going past it, if I believe.
I don't remember.
You don't? Oh, I guess I watch more than you do.
I literally actually don't remember half that race because I was just so disappointed in how horribly it was run. So yeah,
you're not gonna accept what you say about the. You know what I'm talking about.
You know exactly what I was going to say, but I'm not going to say it because I just don't want to feel like saying it. So there.
What was it? Is it to do with the fact that on Eurosport Player we actually had no commentary at all?
No, you guys got lucky on that side.
Well, no one got any commentary because apparently the Japanese don't know how to set up a commentary team for some reason. Even though they organized right ahead of time to have a stream on something that didn't carry the stream, then they scrambled to have a setup stream for those of us who didn't have a stream online, but not have proper commentators who had no idea what was happening or how to commentate on a race.
Basically, it got bad all of a sudden. It turned to an absolute... I don't know what to say it. Yes. Yeah. It was pretty bad. The whole race become like some kind of a grieving process where people got mad, some of them accepted, some people not. It's just weird.
So you should have been so fortunate that the Eurosport stream had no commentary on it. So,
I was incredibly thankful.
It, however, did not make the stream any less professional. Yeah.
Rob's being all cocky all of a sudden. This is a first.
Because
he's way more cocky than me this time around.
It was very unprofessional of them, and
yes, but that's because I actually was correct time zone for just sleeping through the entire race and not having to listen to the drivel on Pit FM.
Oh, now you just mentioned him.
Oh, that was what it was. I couldn't even remember what it was. Yeah.
you bloody mentioned those people. By the way, that commentary is absolute garbage. Everyone was making jokes about it like after the race.
Not even after the race. During the race, it was terrible. We may or may not have been a bit rowdy during the Suzuka 10-hour coverage on their GT World YouTube stream that they removed comments from it. So there you go.
Forza, I have a quick question. Are you drunk during that race?
No, but I should have gotten some, because then some alcohol, because it would have been made a lot better.
I mean, there's nothing hard liquor can't fix.
Well...
It basically became a shitpost, I guess, if we could say it.
You just said it, so you just said it.
Might as well. But while this all happened, the race ended with Mercedes winning.
Yes.
Well, that's a bit needs an explanation, because they won every class.
Oh, yes, that's right. Well, then again, the M class only have like one car.
Granted, yes, I think we should mention that the AM class was won by the only entrant in the class, but they still finished, so well done to them.
Did they get a little certificate in Comic Sans MS saying, congratulations, you tried?
They might as well should have, but yeah.
Wait, where did they finish? Where is it?
The AM Cup was won by the only entrant. That was the 112 Sato Yamashita SS RN Sports Mercedes AMG GT3 of Atsushi Sato, Ryose Yamashita, and Norio Kubo.
Where are they? That's the question. Where the hell are they?
It's no need to look for them. They're so far down the order. Yeah.
More to the point, where the hell's my door key?
Of course you forgot your door key.
I have not forgotten it. I think I've just misplaced it. It's buried in here somewhere.
Apparently,
it's come full circle now with you indoors, hasn't it? Okay.
No, I've got it. I found it. All is good with the world, and
apparently looking for door keys way easier than looking for the 112. Basically,
it's pointless. No one needs to know where it finished overall. It was the only car in its class, and it was slow.
Do you know what's not pointless? Pro-Am.
Well, that's arguable.
Well, then again, I mean, they finished. Actually, most of the Pro-Am teams were pretty fast. They even competed for the win.
The Pro-Am Cup winner was the number 75 Sun Energy One Racing entry of Kenny Hobble, Michael Grenier, and Lucas Stoltz. And of course, that takes us to the overall winner of the Group M Gundam, as it's known as.
The Gundam.
Yeah, the Group M Gundam, as it's known.
I mean, for a team that didn't really have a lot of issues, to be honest, on this whole race, the only issues I think I would say count, that's not even an issue, is that their number plate disappeared. And they caught fire. That's it.
Well, yeah, the left front number plates had a bit of an issue, and it caught a bit on fire when the glue was sprayed on the hot exhaust. But other than that, it was fine.
And yes, I am back. I am actually at my desk right now.
Excellent.
That would be followed by, I think, the number 43 Team Straka team.
I don't know, because I'm not looking at the podium results for Pro-Am.
You're not looking at the podium results right now.
I mean, we could mention the Pro-Am Cup winners, or podium finishers.
But we can't be bothered.
Oh, well, I can't be bothered, so...
Well, no, can I, to be honest.
I might as well, because you guys not doing the job. I might as well do it.
Well, I mean, I was just going to mention the winner and then the podium finishers overall, but, yeah.
I mean, Team Straka finished second. Basically,
they actually didn't finish second in Pro-Am.
No, I mean, Oh, you're talking about Pro-Am.
You wanted to say Pro-Am. That's not who finished second in Pro-Am.
Oh, I was talking about Pro. My bad.
Oh, well.
Yeah. I mean, okay, well, I mean, Pro-Am wise, I think the number 28, is it the same 28 that got put the pole, right?
Mm-hmm.
The overall. They got second, and then the third would be one of the J-Lock teams.
The number 28, how about, of course, Ferrari 48 GT3 of Nick Foster, David Perel, and Hiroki Yoshida was second in Pro-Am, and third in Pro-Am was the number 87.
That would be the unit number 2 Evangelion J-Lock car.
There you go. There's your anime knowledge there for everyone.
I mean, there were actually 4 anime cars, now I think about it. So.
How do you... Oh, that's true.
Because there's 2 J-Locks, and then the Gundam that won, and then there's... We'll mention the final one later, but yeah, J-Lock got second, which probably went way
third in Pro-Am was the 87 J-Lock Lamborghini Huracan GT3 of Yuya
Takahashi Ida and
Yuya Motojima, Taiyo Aida, and Kimiya Sato, I think.
Yeah, there's no Sato. I think you're looking at the other.
Oh, they replaced him with Takahashi. Okay, I see. Yeah.
Yeah. Which leads us to the overall podium. So we did mention already the number 888, I believe. Gundam. Yes,
the 888 Group M Gundam led a 1-2 finish for Mercedes-AMG. And what was basically a Mercedes whitewash of all the classes in the race. Marl Engel, Tristan Bautier, and Raffaele Marciello won the race by 31.6 seconds.
And I think they lap almost everyone too.
Leading 222 of 276 laps of the race, bringing home a nice paycheck with them. That being a nice 30 million yen, or about $270,000 for the win.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah, not bad payment at all. The second place car was the number 43 Mercedes-AMG Team Straka Racing entry of Lewis Williamson, Maximilian Götz, and Alvaro Perez, who also took home 50 million yen prize, or $135,000. And for Group M, it was the first Hong Kong-based team to win the Suzuka Summer Endurance Race. So lots of firsts in this weekend. And rounding out the overall podium was the number 6 Audi Sport Team Absolute Racing Audi R8 LMS of Christopher Haase, Marcus Finkelhock, and Kelvin van der Linde, who were also the first Chinese team to score a podium in the Summer Endurance Race.
Again, a lot of firsts.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to mention the other 2 that are in the top 5?
Sure, because I know you only want to mention the top 5 because your car was in the top 5, yeah.
You pick the top 4. I'll pick the 5th position.
Okay, fine. 4th was another Audi, that being the 66 Audi Sport Team WRC R8 LMS of Christopher Mies, Dries Vantho, and Frederick Vervisch. 33 seconds behind the overall leader. And of course, 5th was Mikhail's favorite car of all time.
I mean, it's not like my favorite car of all time. There's way other favorites by this point, but favorite Super GT car would probably make sense. GT300.
Couldn't just leave it alone. Yeah.
Is it? Well, that's a euphemism in itself, isn't it?
Shut up, Rob.
I'm not even gonna go there.
I will fight you.
Come at me, bro. Oh wait, hold on. There is a slight issue in terms of the fact that you're in California and I'm on the wrong side of the Atlantic Ocean, let alone America. So maybe not.
But anyway, it looks like Guzman actually finished an international race for once compared to last year.
Yeah.
They've only run 2 international races.
Well, yeah, but
Why
at least
isn't even an international race? It's in Japan.
Well, it's still considered international competition.
Arguable.
Nah. I mean, you do have like teams from like Europe.
True, but
Asia.
it's more of a Super GT race considering it's in Japan. But yeah.
Well, I probably consider it more of a GT300 race.
That's pretty much it, really. But with only 2 GT300 cars in it.
Yeah, which people are kind of like not happy that the MCs aren't doing well.
They shouldn't have been invited because they're just in the way constantly. Looking at you, the Lotus that isn't a Lotus.
I mean, they finished like how many laps back?
They were dead last almost practically and always in the way.
Yeah.
Whenever you saw it, it was constantly in the way of someone racing for position.
But minus the tangent, 5th place was indeed Guzman managing to not only finish 5th, but actually I think no one noticed this right away.
Oh, I think
everyone. What happened? Rob, you're okay?
Yes, I was going to say. I think I know what you're on about.
What is it?
They picked up an award for being the top, I think top Japanese team or top Asian team.
Yes, correct. They have an Asia award that no one knows, and probably no one like. I didn't know either. I actually checked on Twitter like a day after the race, and they actually have like saying they won 3 million yen. Yeah, 3 million yen, which is like 27. That's like $27,000.
Not a bad paycheck there.
Not a bad paycheck. Maybe including some of the prize money they win overall, but they actually managed to win something. That I guess, and basically in there what's considered the home crowd. I mean, heck, if you took a look at the grandstands, there's a lot of GSR fans just cheering them on.
And that would have been the 00, of course, for those looking for the entry. It was the 00 Mercedes AMG Team Good Smile entry of Nobuteru Taniguchi, Takuya
Kataoka.
Yeah. I said that wrong, didn't I? Yes, I did.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You buddy did.
Takuya Kataoka, yeah.
Yes. And Kamui Kobayashi.
So, and I think they finished, regarding the award, they finished ahead of the other GTR that matched, actually the highest GTR of Gainer, which finished in 14.
Not really so much as finish ahead, so much as be a mile between the two, yeah.
A yawning chasm.
They're too good. I mean, apparently this whole race. I think they're the only. I mean, Goodsmell gained like I think 70 positions. I think
they started 21st, so yeah.
Yeah, because of what happened with the qualifying.
Well, that's their own fault for being at the wrong time.
They could have won, but whatever. 5th place.
I wouldn't go past that. They weren't that good of a car, to be honest.
Compared to the 1st place car, I would agree.
They could probably be on the podium, but they would not have won.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I will agree with that part. But have you took a look on the 14th and 16th place cars because they actually finished second and third on the Asia Award?
No, I have not looked past the top 10 because I wasn't aware there was an Asian award. So yeah.
Oh, you need to do it now.
I'm looking. What's so special about them?
Because they're like the other Super GT teams. Well, I think Super GT or full. I don't even know what this whole word is. To be honest.
It's an Asian award because ARN or ARN Racing is not a Super GT team, as far as I know.
So I think full Asian teams then.
Basically,
Yeah.
well, it's called the Asia Award, isn't it, or something like that?
It wasn't explained at all, to be honest.
Yeah. What? You explained something not explained during the race? What a shocker! That explains this entire event. Nothing was explained.
I didn't even know there was like an extra award like compared to Pro M, and Am.
Well, it wasn't even a cup, really. It was just an extra award. Yeah.
I know, but still, I mean, few people probably knew it. I guess once people left the stream, so I guess that's why.
I didn't know it, and I actually couldn't even be bothered if it was announced to have paid attention. Really.
I mean, you left after the podium, if I'm correct.
I left before the podium. I didn't even bother sticking around for the trophies.
That explains it.
Because I just could not be bothered any longer to watch the stream, so I left as soon as it ended.
But yeah, Gaynor got, I guess, a podium. Well, what's considered a podium in the.
It's not
Asian
really
award.
a podium.
I would, yeah, I would argue with that too.
They got one of those certificates which just say you tried.
They got a giant comedy check that had some money on it.
They do have trophies though. I noticed.
It was an unofficial class. Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
that is very interesting. Then, if that was a class, interesting.
So it is a class. It's just that it's not been known.
Well, yeah, because them announcing things is totally what they do. Oh wait, no, they don't.
But have you told them like teams yet, or you want me to do it?
Teams. There's
two of them that you forgot the two Asian teams. That.
Oh, you wanted me to actually mention them? Okay.
Yes.
The number 11 was the Gaynor Nissan GTR Nismo GT3 of. Let's see here. Number 11 was. Where is it? I don't actually even have it written down. So there we go.
You didn't.
I don't know. I don't know who the drivers are. They are Hironaka, Hoshino, and Yasuda. So there you go.
And then third place was actually these kind of drivers are actually from the how can I call them? Super GT Prius team. I believe
they are Super GT drivers. They are Hiroki Nagai, Kokisaga, and Kohei Hirate. So
which by the way, they're right now in second in Super GT rankings right now, GT 300.
Not relevant. This is not a Super GT race.
I know, but I just want to put the facts in. These Priuses are good, but they're now in a Ferrari, which I guess not bad. Yeah. Basically,
outing in one.
Yeah. And of course, down. What's the highest MC car? It was actually.
Oh, I don't know. It's not worth bothering mentioning because they're both at the bottom.
Well, it's not fully bottom, but
they're at the bottom.
Team Up Garage finished 27. If you care about MCs, for Corvette fans, the only Corvette in the grid finished 26th. So yeah,
the 37 and the 18 had issues. The other pointless entry was the number 2 Lotus, which wasn't a Lotus, that was in the slow and finally finished with engine troubles and was dead last, basically.
Yeah. Although, can I quickly say about the Corvette? Yeah,
sure.
That crew had actually been built from scratch prior to the event. Brand new car, and they only had one translator for the engineers.
Oh,
well, that explains it.
Yikes!
Like for them, actually just getting to the finish was akin to winning the race.
That explains it.
Interesting.
But anyways, to almost end this
Explains the lack of pace, really, considering they're all bronze drivers as well. So
True.
I didn't.
Well, bronze and 2 silvers, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking there was bronze and 2 silvers, but yes. Do we have any time for some quick news?
Well, hang on. Before I wrap this up here.
Can I say this real quick regarding this race?
Go on.
What do you think would need to be improved for Suzuka 10 hours?
Everything.
If they bring it back?
There, move on.
Yeah.
Everything.
Also,
Everything.
move the start time a little bit, so it's not.
The start time was fine.
Well, it was great here in the UK. I just literally watched 1 lap and went to bed, and then woke up. The last hour.
You disappeared after the first lap.
Yeah. I literally watched the first lap and was like, "Nah, can he take no more, Captain?" Went to bed.
Weak.
Basically,
it was 2 in the fucking morning, mate.
Everything could be improved with the race. But let's just start basically with the live stream in the comms, because that's what needs to be addressed, basically. And hopefully next year they will have all of it streamed on one source, and that will be GT World, live and free around the world. But we shall see if the Japanese decide that that is the best thing to do. But probably not, because it's not an SRO event, so we shall see. But in the IGTC, before we move on from this, Mercedes-AMG has taken the lead in the manufacturer's title over Audi by 9 points. And Raffaele Marciello and Tristan Vautier are the new Drivers' Championship leaders. Because Robin Frins was the leader, but was not competing as he was in Misano in an Audi.
And winning, I think, as well.
Possibly, I don't remember.
No, neither do I, to be honest, and I've actually closed that tab since, so I'll just get it back up.
Another news item to come out is that McLaren GT probably won't be at Laguna Seca for the finale of the IGTC, and that would bring a close to their involvement as the in-house McLaren team.
So basically a big disaster for McLaren, basically.
Well, I mean, McLaren GT hasn't exactly been the most successful of ventures.
But
it's won a couple of things, but
they do have a new car on the horizon, which they've actually started testing.
Yes, the 720S GT3, which is built in-house by McLaren Automotive and led by former Stracker Racing boss Dan Walmsley.
Yes,
or Walmsley, rather.
When I said Frins won, I do apologise. He came second in the first race.
Yeah, close enough, really.
So basically, maybe
First
McLaren
of
might do
losers.
So you're saying that McLaren might do well next time we have the Intercontinental GT Challenge or any other GT3 race?
Well, if they enter into the IGTC next season, they stand a good chance.
That's why I mean other GT3 races as well.
But yeah, possibly. But
so I think that's the only change that on position GT3 wise, because I think Bentley got 4th place on their standings.
Everyone else didn't matter. They're out of it anyway. It's only Mercedes and Audi's championship from here on in, and the Drivers' Championship.
You forgot the bronze. Is there even a bronze driver standings?
The bronze standings. It's just.
Yeah.
You just don't care.
I don't. I can't be bothered. Moving on.
Yes, and can I do some news quick?
Sure, go
was
for it.
The news about IMSA and the signings for
that's in there. That's in there. We'll get to that. There is a fair bit. First of all, there is a new LMP3 championship.
That's not important.
Yes, the LMP3 Cup Australia is being launched for next season. 6 rounds, 2 60-minute races. They haven't confirmed the calendar just yet, but that should be all right. United Autosports have confirmed one of their lineups for the Asian Le Mans series in LMP3. The reigning champion drivers Guy Cosmo and Patrick Byrne are being joined by Sally Yolok.
Right, okay.
Andy Merrick is going to be missing the GT4 European Series round at the Hungaroring, but that means he does get a lot. But that does mean he has a longer honeymoon.
Ah, well, there you go. That's also still not important, but yes.
Which is important, and congratulations to him and Rebecca for the...
Right, before you move on saying more things that are important...
What are you doing, Rob?
Yes.
Can we just cut to the IMSA news?
Yes, there is more IMSA news. AFS PR1 have taken delivery of a shiny new Orica 07.
That wasn't IMSA news, that was announced last weekend.
It's considered news on here.
Last week.
I'm going to give you 5 seconds to get to the 2 news items of IMSA that actually matter.
I have one of them. One of which is that that shiny new book which they announced in the State.
That was not one of them.
You can help. I've got it here. Because of some Spanish dude deciding to race in the World Endurance Championship and the race being moved, it means the ESM are without a couple of their drivers. They're a couple of Frenchmen called Oli Pilar and Nicolas Lapierre, so they've had to do a bit of rummaging around to see who was available for Petit Le Mans. So they've only gone and hired Timo Bernhard and Antonio Giovinazzi.
There you go. That's what I wanted you to say all along.
You said shiny book. Are you serious? We talked about that last, I think, a few weeks now.
They finally announced it.
Yes. Bernhard will be in the 22 alongside Pipo Derani and Johannes van Overbeek, with Scott Sharp and Ryan DL in the number 2 being joined by Giovinazzi, who raced at Le Mans for Ferrari this year.
Also has experience with the team.
Yes, from the World Endurance Championship. Gustavo Menezes confirms that his win at Silverstone means that he's actually the first American driver to win the Taurus Trophy. This is his news.
No, it isn't. You sound like Archer now, saying things that aren't news items or news items.
By the way, can I quickly say, McLaren have actually confirmed the price tag for the 720S GT3 we mentioned earlier.
How much is it?
£440,000. Although, given the way Brexit's going, that could change. So,
oh God, what the
£440,000. So it's pointlessly expensive. Move on.
Yes. And yeah, that's pretty much it, I think.
Wow, so you had all the pointless news items except the 2 news items that I wanted, which was...
I had one of them.
Yes, we didn't have the other one, which is that Corey Lewis is rejoining Paul Miller Racing for Petit Le Mans.
That wasn't on Daily Sports Car, in fairness.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the other bits that were in that article besides that one.
Did I?
Yes.
Oh my God, you're so bad. Oh my God.
In fairness, I literally just went on dailysportscar.com and just opened up every news item on there that had broken since last week.
It's your fault for not looking.
Week.
Anyway, getting past
yes, you did it last week.
Enough already.
God damn it.
This weekend we have the Italian Grand Prix from Monza, so you should watch that. We have the throwback weekend from NASCAR, so that's...
No one cares.
From Darlington. We have the Grand Prix of Portland. We have the Grand Prix of Portland for IndyCar, and that's about it on my calendar that I have.
Challenge Watkins Glen, I think.
Oh, yes, of course, that as well.
And we got a bit of VLN action from the Nordschleifer as well.
Okay. Anything else?
Let me check everything real quick.
I'll check as well. Come on, load. Come on, load.
Wait, let me check the date. I think we're fine besides that.
Yeah, I think we are indeed. Oh yeah, there is Blancpain Sprint Cup from Hungaroring.
No, that's pointless.
You don't like Blanc? You do not like Blancpain in general, do you?
I don't like Sprint Cup, no.
I think it may have been to the press conference, may have had something to do with it.
No, move on. Calendars, not banter. Calendars.
You are. Christ, Rob, are you serious?
Right, so they
on my
can't find
voice
anything
calendar,
else
I
on their
have to follow
calendars.
I think that's it, really.
I think
That's
that
it. I'm just gonna shut you off now. Yeah.
Dankeschön.
Oh God! Almost got. Quick, just take us off air. This is horrible, terrible thing.
But then again, we all know that the Suzuka 10 hours was actually a bit.
What the hell are you doing?
Just end
Had
it
to
quick.
get the bullshit button in.
Save us from ourselves stuff.
Bye, everyone.
Just end it all. Fuck's sake.